outdoor YouTubers who didn't return home. You guys ready?
Storm de Buell was a 22-year-old Belgian YouTuber known for sharing his adventures across Northern Europe. He never spoke in any of his videos and instead used the ambient sounds of nature to make his viewers feel like they were right there with him.
Dude,
and while he started
never
uploading
spoke?
videos in August of 2024, he'd actually been solo camping ever since he was just 19 years
Dude, you know what, man? You guys would probably fucking love this guy because you guys tell me to shut the fuck up all the time. You guys just want me to just shut up, not say anything. You guys want me to react without reacting. It's ridiculous.
old. At one point, he even biked over 3,700 miles or over 6,000 kilometers across Sweden all on his own. So he had plenty of experience surviving in the wilderness alone.
Jesus.
However, when nature turns unpredictable, even the most prepared adventurers find themselves struggling to survive. Tragically, that's exactly what happened with Storm on the night of October 29th, 2024. He was recording another video, this time traveling through the Jokkmokk region located in the Swedish Lapland, known for its beautiful snowy vistas and frequent aurora sights.
Dude, I bet the auroras are so pretty, man. I've never seen them, man, but I have friends that tell me all the time, you know?
Now, Storm usually parked his car in a nearby town and then ventured into the wilderness on foot with his camping gear. These trips often lasted multiple days, sometimes—
Dude, holy shit, look at this, man. Would you guys do that? This is scary to me, bro. Like, don't get me wrong, it's like, you know, it looks really pretty, it's gorgeous, but holy fuck, man. I do love vegetation and mountains. I love looking at it. I don't know if I want to live in it.
even a whole week before—
Oh, yeah. You guys play that game, Oregon Trail? Yeah, man. The people at the start of the journey are completely different than at the end of the journey. Because at the end of the journey, right, because it takes fucking years to, like, you know, traverse through all that shit, man. So, like, you have these, like, kids at the start of the journey, and by the end of the journey, if they're even still alive, they're like fucking adults. That's crazy to me.
he made it back. October 29th was the last day of one of these trips. He was making his way back and was only a day's walk away from his car. But it was quickly getting dark and continuing to walk would have been extremely dangerous. So Storm made the decision to set up his tent and sleep for the night. A cold breeze was already sweeping through the region, prompting Storm to mount snow around his tent as a makeshift barrier before going to sleep. Unfortunately, nothing could have prepared him for the extreme weather he was about to encounter. Because just a few hours after setting his tent, the Jokkmokk region got hit by an intense blizzard with winds reaching up to 75 miles per hour or around 120 kilometers per hour. Snow quickly started piling up all around his tent as well. But worst of all, the temperature not only fell below freezing to 21 Fahrenheit or -6 Celsius, the strong wind made it feel as cold as 0 Fahrenheit or -18 Celsius. Maybe he realized the gravity of his situation at this point and wanted to contact his loved ones. Because at around midnight, his friend received a video of him showing his tent getting torn apart by the terrifyingly strong wind, with him stating, "Tonight it's going to get worse, Jesus Christ." He also called his grandmother right after and reassured her of his safety, stating, "It's snowing heavily here, but don't worry, I'll survive, you know."
Oh, that's sad,
Then
man.
at 2:36 a.m., the Swedish authorities received an SOS call from Storm. He reported multiple injuries, including a broken nose, and requested immediate help. Unfortunately, the strong wind made it impossible to reach him with the helicopter, and the snow obstructed any rescue efforts on the ground. The blizzard eventually subsided at around 10 a.m., and the rescuers rushed to Storm's last known location. Sadly, by the time they found him, it was already too late. The lower half of his body had turned purple due to the extreme cold, and even the blood on his face from the broken nose was frozen solid. Oddly enough, he was found roughly 1.6 miles or 2.6 kilometers away from his collapsed tent. It's unclear if he was forced to ditch the tent after it collapsed or if he set out before that happened. In either case, he was walking towards his car when he likely fell, broke his nose, and then contacted the authorities. The only silver lining in Storm's tragic end is that at least he died doing what he loved, as he told his father when he first started going on these solo camping trips, "Dad, it took me a long time to know what I wanted, but that's what I want."
Damn, man, that's fucking sad, man. Normally in cases like these, right? You know, you have like cave divers and shit. It's hard to feel sorry for them. You know what I mean? Because like you have these people, they knowingly go into a dangerous environment. But like this guy didn't seem to do anything risky. you know, you have these like cave divers that like there'll be a sign on the fucking cave that's like don't enter, and then they enter anyway, and it's like, well, yeah, what do you expect? But this guy was just like, you know, he's just hiking and he did like a lot of it. So he's very experienced. It's really sad because, I mean, based on the information here, I don't think he did anything stupid. Like, I don't think he made any mistakes. Yeah. So that's a good way to put it, right? It's one thing to go into a dangerous environment. It's different when the environment turns dangerous. Yeah. That's like probably the best way to put it. Yeah. But no, he probably left the tent because his tent was there was probably snow in his tent. His tent wasn't doing anything anyway. There was like the absolute last ditch effort to just get to his car, right? But obviously he wasn't going to make it because the fucking storm was so bad. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's really sad.
Hannah Rose Moody was a 31-year-old YouTuber and influencer from Scottsdale, Arizona. And while most of her content on YouTube revolved around her faith as a Christian, her Instagram account posted mostly different content. There, she made regular posts about her hiking adventures across the rocky desert terrain of Arizona. Hitting the trails several times a week had become a natural part of her routine ever since she moved to Arizona 6 months earlier. And May 21st was supposed to be no different. She got up early and quickly drove to the Gateway Trailhead located in the McDowell Sonoran Preserve. She parked her car and began the roughly 4.5 mile or 7 kilometer hike across the loop trail. It was a moderately challenging trail with a rocky path and noticeable elevation changes, but nothing Hannah hadn't tackled before.
That looks like a hike.
She felt fairly confident she could finish the hike in under 3 hours and even made plans to hang out with friends at lunch. Unfortunately, what started as just another ordinary hike ended with a devastating tragedy. Her friends were the first to sense something was wrong when Hannah didn't show up for lunch on time. She didn't send any messages about running late and wasn't picking up her phone either. It wasn't like her to ghost people out of nowhere. So, after waiting at the restaurant for many hours, her friends decided to check on Hannah at her home at around 7:50 p.m., hoping she was simply resting after a tough hike. But when they arrived at her house, her car was missing from the driveway, the lights were off, and the door was locked. Seeing this, they immediately contacted the authorities. They found her car still parked at the trailhead, and it wasn't long before the search party was looking for Hannah across the Gateway Loop Trail with helicopters, drones, and canines. The search was eventually called off at 11:30 p.m. due to the darkness.
Shit,
and
dude, look at this like just vast open space of just nothing, bro.
Resumed the next morning with even more people partaking in the search. This went on till about 12:05 p.m. when a helicopter pilot made the heartbreaking discovery Hannah's friends and family were dreading all night. Just 600 yards off the trail, rescuers discovered the remains of Hannah Moody lying face down on the desert ground. Hannah was dead, and likely had been for several hours. However, there was nothing that could explain her end right away. There were no signs of foul play, no intoxicating substances were found in her system, and she didn't even have any serious head injuries from a fall or stumble. With that, the only explanation investigators were able to come up with was that Hannah lost her life due to extreme heat.
Yeah, heat exhaustion.
You see, the temperature in the Gateway Trail region soared to over 102 Fahrenheit, or about 39 Celsius the day prior when Hannah was hiking. She likely suffered from a heat stroke and wandered off the designated path in confusion before collapsing and eventually passing away, leaving her YouTube and Instagram videos as an unintentional final goodbye to her loved ones.
Jesus, man, that's fucking sad too, man. See, the thing is, man, if I'm ever in like a fucking super hot or super cold environment, man, I'm taking motherfuckers with me, man. I'm a pussy though. Like, I'm always really cautious. Whenever I'm in like a new city or something, like I don't even go anywhere by myself. Like I always take someone with me, or I just won't go. Maybe that's because I'm a pussy.
Finn Creaney was a 33-year-old survival expert from the Pitt County area in Scotland. Utilizing the skills he had, Finn operated a survival school in the area called Wildcat Bushcraft, teaching kids general wilderness survival skills as well as bushcraft, which, for those who don't know, includes things like foraging, hunting, and building shelter out of natural materials. The business was also accompanied by a YouTube channel of the same name, where Finn...
Do you guys think you could ever do that type of shit, man? I know it's going to sound crazy, but I actually think I could. If there ever came a point in my life where I was just going to have to completely abandon everything that I know. Let's create a scenario real fast. Let's say that like a zombie apocalypse happens, okay? And like there's like atom bombs and shit going off and fucking, the end of the world type shit. and I'm like forced to, right? The internet no longer exists. Society no longer exists, you know? Just, it's like fucking, you know, the Book of Eli shit, you know what I mean? Or like some fucking Walking Dead. In that case, in an extreme case like that, you know, I think I would have the willpower to do this. Now, would I be successful at it? I don't think so. Like, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think I would be able to accept the situation, but could I survive the situation? That's like two different things, right? Yeah, I don't know. Interesting to think about, man. You guys ever think about that shit?
Shared his knowledge and experience with the world for free. His content was both informative and entertaining, allowing him to slowly build a small but loyal audience.
I would die of
viewers
heartbreak
didn't
not being
realize,
able to see
however,
Chad again.
was that one
Yes.
day, this very channel would also play a role in Finn's tragic end. Things went south on the 25th of March 2022 when Finn was dropped off at the B873 road near Loch Naver in Sutherland. His goal was to head south and hike the 45-mile distance to the small village of Golspie and make a video about the bushcrafting skills he had used along the way. Now, his family knew the journey would take more than a day, so they weren't too concerned when he didn't reach his destination right away. But then 3 days passed and there was no sign of Finn anywhere. Even more concerning was the fact that he didn't make any contact throughout this time, with every call from his family going straight to voicemail. So, on day 3, Finn's father called the police and filed a missing person report, all while holding on to the hope that his son was simply lost, had broken his phone, or was just taking his time on the hike. Sadly, that couldn't have been further from the truth. In reality, Finn had somehow vanished from the area without a trace. And despite the police spending months searching the area surrounding Loch Naver, they couldn't find a single clue about his current whereabouts. Finn was even featured on a British unsolved mystery-style show about missing people called Vanished,
what the fuck?
but that also led nowhere. However, even after a year of fruitless searching,
They
his
just
father
never
Mark didn't
found
give
him?
up and kept looking for his son on his own. And after 19 months of following the same routine, he finally found the first real clue, Finn's backpack, partially hidden in the bushes along the bank of Loch Naver. While Mark never disclosed exactly what was inside, it gave him and the rest of Finn's family reason to believe that Finn had tried to take a shortcut across the loch and ended up drowning by accident. So, after searching for his body for a few more months, they made the tough decision to stop searching and accept the fact that Finn was truly gone. That said, many on the internet find it hard to believe that Finn actually tried to swim across the Naver and lost control in the process. Many asked why a professional survivalist would make such a rookie mistake, especially when he still had a multiple miles-long journey ahead of him, even if he had somehow made it across the Loch Naver. This doubt has given rise to many alternative theories that attempt to explain his mysterious disappearance. These range from fairly out there speculations like Finn doing this to fake his own death and build a new life, to some truly chilling hypotheticals
No way,
like Finn going
dude.
into the loch on purpose to end it all. Unfortunately, there just isn't enough evidence to confirm or deny any of these theories. What exactly happened to Finn remains a mystery to this day.
That's crazy. They just never found him. Fake death stories are the silliest. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, if you're gonna fake your, dude, that's so weird, man.
Andrew Cross was a 36-year-old outdoor YouTuber from Grand Junction, Colorado. His channel, Desert Drifter, featured content that could only be described as archaeology mixed with exploration. He visited and made videos about any place he found interesting, from thousands years old stone walls to abandoned German spy caves from World War II. Beyond just being educational, his videos also boasted top-tier production quality, helping Andrew amass a massive audience in just 14 months on YouTube. Most importantly, his viewers loved his content and eagerly waited for the next upload. But then Andrew suddenly stopped posting after his upload in January 2025. Some assumed he was simply taking a break, while others figured the delay was due to his next video taking longer to produce. It wasn't until the 2nd of February that viewers received the truth from Andrew's wife, Evelyn, and it was far worse than any of his fans could have imagined. Andrew had gotten into a horrible car accident. He was waiting at a stoplight on the intersection between 1st Street and North Avenue in Grand Junction while on his way back from shooting a video about the Bears Ears National Monument in Utah on January 31st, 2025. When, out of nowhere, an out-of-control car rear-ended Andrew at an extremely high speed, resulting in his car flipping over and causing severe brain damage. He was rushed to a nearby hospital almost immediately.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, it was already too late. He spent over a month in the ICU and was put on life support. During this time, it became abundantly clear that Andrew sadly had no chance of recovering from his injuries.
Holy shit.
So on March 4th at around 10:50 a.m., his family made the difficult decision to let him rest and remove the life support system keeping him on the edge of life. This was devastating news for his hundreds of thousands of fans who were blissfully looking forward to his next upload not too long ago. These fans also banded together and raised over $544,000 for Andrew's family in their time of need. As for the person responsible for the crash, named Ragnar Nicholas Crystal, he was arrested 20 days later on February 21st and was later charged with vehicular homicide and driving under the influence. He's still awaiting conviction at the time of writing.
That's so fucking sad, man. You know that happened to me? Being hit from behind, man. That happened to me, man. That's what I'm saying, man. I think that people, if you operate a vehicle under the influence, I think that you should be charged to the extreme. Drunk driving in my brain is the same level as like fucking murder. Like you knowingly get into a vehicle and you drive. And people don't understand how dangerous that is, man. Like, this guy didn't do anything wrong. He was literally at a fucking stoplight. It doesn't matter how good of a driver you are. You can have the best driving record, you could be the best, most safe driver, and then all of a sudden this happens, and you're just fucking dead. And it has nothing to do with you. If you drive under the influence, I think that you should be, like, prosecuted at, like, the fucking, like, murder, manslaughter, whatever the fuck it is. I think that like driving under the influence should be taken way more serious. There never exists a single good reason to do that, especially in today. You have like so many options to get to where you need to go. Basically, I feel like that people, when they go out or when they fucking get high or drunk or whatever it is, they only think about the time that they're there. They don't actually think about the most important part. The most important part is how are you going to get home? I've been in 2 fucking car accidents, and both times, neither one was my fault. And one of them was the exact scenario of this guy right here. This guy right here, he got hit behind so hard that his car flipped. So thankfully, I didn't get hit that hard, but I got hit so hard. So at the time I had my Ford Ranger and the back of my truck, he hit me so hard that when he hit me, the back of my truck it like almost went through their windshield. He hit me so hard that it pushed my car forward and it fucked up the front of my car and destroyed the back of the guy in front of me, of his car. And then at that exact moment, man, Marlby took off his seatbelt to adjust himself, like in the seat. And when he did that, and that fucking guy hit us, his head slammed against the dashboard, and he hit the top of his head hit the dashboard so hard that he was like bleeding, and it fractured like 3 discs in his spinal cord. He had to wear like a fucking like neck brace for like a month. He couldn't even lift properly for like a year. The fact that he made a recovery and didn't like end up in a fucking wheelchair or some shit, you know, was very fortunate. And I remember immediately when it happened, man. Oh, I remember it was like this moment of clarity, right? It was insane. I just had one thought: get out of the fucking car, get on the side of the road. Like get out of the fucking truck, get Marlby, go on the side of the road. I didn't know how bad Marlby was hurt. I was fine, actually. I was fine. There was nothing wrong with me. I jumped out of the truck immediately, opened his door. I basically just fucking picked him up. Full of adrenaline. I didn't know what was going to happen. You know, all these scenes I'm thinking about, like in movies and shit, where the car explodes and all this shit. I got out of the car, opened his door, picked him up, moved to the side of the road, and then I like thought for a second. I wasn't thinking about that. Carrying a hurt person. You're probably right. I wasn't thinking about that. I did it. Maybe I could have caused him more harm than good. I don't know. But all I know is that I wanted to get him out of that car. Really good video. Another banger. Thank you, Chilling Scares.